Hey there, and welcome back to another My Hero Academia review. And today we're going to be talking about Season 7, Episode 2, Spectre, which follows off from the epic clash between newcomer American top hero Star and Stripe and ShiigyxAll-For-One, the fusion dance version. Last time, I got a little bit of pushback in the comments surrounding my belief that whilst this fight ended up being pretty cool, it did feel like the author was stalling for time when he was writing this character, writing this story. A character who looks very likely to die imminently, just to extend the chapter count and push back the final confrontation between the heroes and Shigaraki. And look, you might disagree, but at the same time, I did look at some of the comments from that time on the manga, and it definitely feels like the manga readers from those chapters that the episode covers had similar thoughts to me. Not everybody, but a fair subsection, so I stand by what I said. Although I only read the comments on those chapters, so I didn't spoil myself with the manga this time, so I'm still flying blind for the most part, but I don't know, I reckon that it would have been a bit more fun to meet this hero just a bit earlier, that's all. Have her make more of an impact than just weakening Shigaraki and pushing back the timeline for when Deku and him are going to clash in the end. I would have liked her to meet some of the heroes or the class members. Oh well, probably isn't going to happen unless Endeavor remembers that he can fly, and has been hightailing it over there from the moment they realised there was a fight brewing, which, we'll see. Anyway, this is Spectre. So our cold open consists of a little scene set probably years prior, where Star's brooding over the fact that she's not able to match All Might's physical power, and that all her life she's been told that the reason that she can't is because quirks work at a mental level, implying she's not mentally strong enough to get to All Might's level, or because she's a girl. But her squad tells her that all of that, it's a bunch of bullshit. The reality is that all quirks are different, and that yeah, she doesn't have a quirk that can let her do the things that All Might can do, but it's down to that alone. Doesn't mean she can't surpass him in other ways, even if he has more raw power. It's just about how she uses her quirk. Plus, on top of that, she'll have them to help her out. Man, seeing all this makes me wish she could, like, I don't know, talk to Bakugo or something, bond with him, make him really angry she keeps insisting on calling him little bro, because I think he's going to fill a similar role. He can't really keep up with Deku's overwhelming power in the end, especially as Deku unlocks his final quirks and masters the rest. But despite that, I think his character makes sense as being someone who can learn how to perfect everything he does and fight smart, and thus he can somewhat keep up. I suspect they're going to go that way anyway, but regardless, I think it would have been nice to have somebody for him to look up to in that regard as well. I mean, Best Jeanist is cool, yeah, but I think this would have just given us a bit of a different flavour. I don't know, also Deku meeting another All Might fanboy slash fangirl, I think that would have been very fun. Anyway, this whole sequence is there to just make you feel sad, I think. Feel sad about her impending death, make it feel more emotional, and yeah, it is, but like I said, these are all fresh characters, so I don't care as much as I think the episode wants me to care. I needed more time to cook with this. And then we return to the fight where the Tiamat missiles are en route and Star's holding Shigaraki in place with a laser. But she's going to have to let go of the laser in order to grab the missiles for a super attack, and so it's going to be the pilots and their laser cannons that are going to fill the gaps. If only they had somebody nearby who was powerful enough to replicate the laser and help them double down on killing Shiggy. Or somebody who can hold Shiggy in place, just... Why didn't Endeavor just pick up Best Jeanist and fly them both over here by now? Also, didn't Best Jeanist airdrop super cables in when they fought Gigantomachia? Where's that? Why do they not have some sort of aircraft? He has a Batmobile but not a Batwing? Ugh, amateur hour here. The American hero has her own personal Air Force squadron. They have laser beams. Laser beams would put the average hero to shame in their power. And yeah, Shigaraki realizes that she seems to have a plan to wipe out his whole body at once. Gohan versus Cell style, and so she catches the missiles, orders them to redirect, and the squadron, they're a little bit late on firing their lasers, but that's okay because they hold him there and she hits him with the nuclear punch. And it causes a massive explosion, so big that you could see it on the horizon, but apparently not that big as neither the aircraft or Star have a scratch on them. Not even her costume has tears. Also, Endeavor's just still flying, but flying along the road. Bro, go out to sea, what are you doing? I know anime time sometimes works a little bit differently, but there's really no excuse for such stupidity here. It's been a decent amount of time. Imagine if he was on the way. Even if everything in the episode still played out as it does, maybe he could have tracked down Shigaraki and melted his ass. Ah, fool. But yeah, Shiggy big-brained this. He sent out a Nomu to take the laser attack, which bought him time to decay down into the ground and avoid getting fully wiped out by the rockets. He's still a bit ruined, but it's okay. He can put a band-aid on, he'll be right as rain. And he manages to blast away the jets as they try to make a platform for Star to give her time to fight him, and he leapfrogs his way to her, and she has a moment where she could buy time by crushing him with the Air Titan, and thus using the explosion from the jet he's standing on to try to finish him off, but she doesn't think it would work, and it would just end up being a stalemate again, and ultimately she chooses her friend's life over her own. And so she gets got. Damn, only 6 minutes in, she's going to be dead. Honestly, a bit shocking for me. I thought at minimum she was going to dodge this one and have a bit more of a fight beforehand. So yeah, this got me good. And so here we get a bit of exposition from All-For-One as we watch what's happening in slow motion. He says the worst thing that could happen is if Deku and Star had teamed up. And that makes a lot of sense. Shiggy would get clapped in that world. Held down by Black Whip, whilst getting roasted by lasers from the dudes, and kept there for the hypersonic missile punch. GG. Oh well, I still would have liked them to meet though. But anyway, this is why All-For-One's been using his cronies to slow down the government responses by other governments, to ensure that no top-tier heroes can come to help Deku and ruin his overarching plans. After all, Shigaraki's body isn't ready yet, he needs more time. And once it is ready, he'd still probably need Deku's power to be able to take down all the top heroes of the world, starting with Star. So this really just ended up being a bit of a lucky break for All-For-One. But now he has New Order, and it really just makes his defeat of Deku a matter of time. Because this quirk was truly busted. If Shiggy hadn't been having an identity crisis, he would have been dead.
Who am I, Hedwig?
Dead, I say. This is exciting. I wish there'd been a bit more of a build to it, but this whole battle's been very epic. And she tries to stop herself decaying, but it fails, and Shigaraki takes the quirk completely. Oof, that's rough. And all the while, All-For-One talks shit to Yoichi in his mind about that Demon King comic again, revealing he knew how it was going to end and thus he stopped reading it, with the implication being that he thinks the ending is very shit, and thus he wants to be the one to subvert the good always wins trope in real life. Shigaraki then goes to use the quirk, only for the epicness to take itself up yet another notch as Star is standing there looking badass in his mind, and then his body just starts to rupture, as it's revealed that instead of trying to fight, she made a rule that New Order would oppose all other quirks. And so when he stole it, she turns into a giant smash monster in his mind and starts beating his ass and ripping out his quirks and destroying them. All-For-One is in shambles. Look at him. I mean, has he ever lost his composure this badly before? Dude's pissed. He got outplayed like a fool, and now he could lose it all. And yeah, this whole sequence where she's dying but also smashing him, it's just cool. I hadn't seen her enough to be that sad she's dying, but she takes forever to do so. She's disintegrating so slowly, and they're playing the sad music that shows her as a little girl and all. So I guess I was supposed to be more upset, but nah. I think I needed more time to really get behind her. Might just be a me thing though. And so anyway, yeah, to honor her sacrifice, the pilots start to laser him down, and since his quirks are dying off, he starts to weaken. And thus he needs to be saved by a Nomu quirk that he stole that lets him fly away, which gives him time to blast them away and start to escape. If only there'd been a hero en route to help them out. Also, I did find it funny how mad All-For-One / Shigaraki were that once again, they were thwarted by All Might. Because he's just such a relentless Chad that he's inspired multiple generations of top tier heroes. And I mean, I'd get it too. I'd be so salty. This guy has big brained his way into getting his hands on the best quirk that could let him get access to One for All, only for this disciple of All Might to have turned it into a virus that ruined all his plans. And so he escapes, Star's dead, but from beyond the grave, saved the day and bought everybody lots of time. And meanwhile, Shigaraki finds some low-tier criminals and tries to force New Order onto them to save his quirks, which fails because the backlash of all the chaos within them has led to the destruction of the New Order quirk, and her vestige fades. But not before she gives them the typical hero spiel about how those with the spirit of a true hero are going to rise up to defeat them, yada yada yada, even if she couldn't fully. And then All-For-One actually hits her with a pretty cold, he who survives wins, and then he calls her a corpse as she fades away into dust. Whew, that's dark. And a great fight. I know she only lasted 2 episodes, and she needed more for the emotional side of things in my point of view, but damn, this whole battle was so cool. Literally the perfect fight. One of the best additions they've had so far. This season has started so strong. I'm eager to see how it goes from here. And then the last 6 minutes or so are really just about wrapping up the story of Star's fight and death and setting up the next proper story arc. We learn that in the aftermath of Star's death, the world has decided to leave Japan to its fate in order to safeguard their own border and territories. Okay, the rest of the world, I can actually see them doing this. It makes sense. And I don't want to stereotype America or anything, but something tells me if superheroes were real and the top American hero with a super patriotic name who works for the Pentagon and wears the American flag as part of her costume was fully assassinated like this in real life, I do not see America taking that well. What's that? I smell an invasion of Japan on humanitarian grounds. And not just heroes, but I'm talking the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. They're coming for him now. None of them have prison orders, by the way. They're out for death. Goodbye, PLF. Goodbye, prison breakers. At best, have fun in Quirk Guantanamo Bay. But yeah, in this version, everybody's apparently a bit of a puss. So they get spooked and Japan's on its own. But they managed to get the data from the flight team, so there's that. And so All Might tells Class 1A that they've gained some time, and that Shigaraki's body had been 1 day from completion before Star did her thing. But now they have a week extension and a couple more episodes. So train up and be ready to fight, because when it kicks into gear, it's going to be an all-out war. And of course, our classes apparently got much stronger in the off-screen training, whilst Deku and All Might were out doing their Batman and Alfred phase. So I'm pretty hyped to see that and how they go in the next stages. I hope all the minor characters in the class do get their own moment to shine, even if in the end it's going to be the Deku show. I do miss the littler characters getting their big moments too, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. And so next up we have the Traitor arc. Now I didn't read this, but I do know who the Traitor is because, he kind of went viral. And I did a video on it in the past, so I'm excited to see how it all plays out. And so, yeah, that's the end of the episode and the video. And so with all that being said, these have just been my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the episode? You like it? Hate it? I'm curious of your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.